Hello and welcome to Daily Politics on Trust TV. I'm Hamza Idris. On Tidbits tonight, the Central Bank of Nigeria has directed banks to allow payment of redesigned Naira notes over the counter with a daily limit of 20,000 Naira. This follows the shortage of the redesigned notes, leading to business disruptions across the country. The CBN reiterated its commitment to Nigerians to ensure the effective distribution of the new introduced Naira banknotes, urging them to exercise patience. The CBN also expressed concern over the selling and abuse of the notes and warned that such practices are illegal and punishable, as it is working with law enforcement agencies to address the issue. And also, an elder statesman, Chief Edwin Clark, has actually called out Senator Ifeanyi Okowa, the vice presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party. He, in fact, asked him to step down as the vice presidential candidate in the forthcoming election. Mr. Clark said this at a press conference today in Abuja. He said that Mr. Okowa's running as the PDP vice presidential candidate was contrary to the resolution of the South-South Forum that the presidency must shift from the North to South this year. Mr. Okowa, he said, has betrayed his colleagues in the Southern Governors Forum and the South generally. Let me quote him. This man has betrayed us by accepting to be the running mate of Atiku. Without me, it would have been difficult for him to become governor of Delta State. What shocked me was that our governor, without discussing with any one of us, was working with the presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar without our knowing. He also said that Okowa should actually explain what he did with over 250 billion 13% derivation fund, which was collected from the federal government, and gave Okowa a deadline of May 29, 2023 to do so or face legal action. Now, to discuss these and many other issues in the South-South, I have in the studio Mr. Dakuku Peter Said. He is actually a columnist, an author, public commentator, and turnaround expert. And he had served as the Director General of Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, NIMASA. And above all, he was actually the gubernatorial candidate of the All Progressives Congress, APC, in Rivers State in 2015. Welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
You are a man of many caps and all that.
Good evening, Hamza. Good evening, our listeners.
Good. Maybe we'll go straight to our first tidbit. The CBN today said they should give people money over the counter. Will this solve the problem that Nigerians are passing through?
No, definitely not. It may just mitigate the challenge, but it will not eliminate the challenge. Indeed, it's a horrific situation. It has affected the economy. There's a disequilibrium in the economy. Our people are suffering. It has affected small businesses, especially those in the rural areas.
Yeah.
But sometimes you must admit that there's a price to pay for some policy interventions. This is a critical policy intervention. The CBN must have taken a lot into consideration before making this policy. But one thing that nobody can deny is that our people are in deep pains. And
is it the wrong timing that actually subjects people to this?
I believe that it's part of the problem. This could have been done earlier.
But why the delay? Why did they delay up till now? Well,
I wouldn't know. I'm not seized of all the facts.
Yeah.
But something that is obvious to everybody is that there's a lot of hardship in the land because of this policy intervention. Maybe timing is one reason why we're facing this challenge.
Yeah, but is Nigeria even ready for this kind of radical transition?
Well, there's no time. When it comes to managing currency, a lot of factors are in consideration. You know, it could be, it's multidimensional.
Yes.
And so we can't just write it off. We need to critically examine it, analyze the situation, and arrive at an informed decision. If we don't have those facts, then if we don't have, there are a lot of information we need to have to make a proper assessment of the situation.
Yes, and sadly, sir, you can see that most of the things that the CBN said it's going to address with this transformation, you know, they are being punctured one after the other. For instance, they say it will tame terrorism. Now, one of the bandits' leaders, he released about 5 minutes video to the world showcasing bells of new Naira notes, that if they did that in order to checkmate them, they are wrong. They should find another way. That he will use the money to buy arms, he will continue to abduct people, and people must produce the new Naira notes too.
No, but one thing you must acknowledge is that redesigning the Naira will contribute to reducing terrorism.
Oh, you are certain about this? You're on the same page with the CBN?
It will contribute. Not that it will eliminate it. It will not eliminate it. But will it contribute? Yes, it will substantially contribute. You know, if most transactions are done electronically, there'll be a limitation for some unlawful transactions.
Yeah.
It's not like there'll be no unlawful transactions, but it might just be limited.
And the second one is, you know, Rabiu Kwankwaso, who is the presidential candidate of
NNPP.
NNPP, yeah, he said it today that if they want to deny politicians to use money for the campaign, they are also wrong, because most of bank CEOs are actually working for these politicians. They will not actually deny their landlords access to these funds, and that is why ordinary people like me, I don't know, you are not one of us maybe, we cannot afford to have the currencies. And that is why when you go to banking hall, you don't even see the elite. Only the poor people who want to buy gari, people who want to buy salt, they can't buy salt today.
Again, I'm of the opinion, I don't have empirical evidence, that if the cash in circulation is restricted, politicians will have access to as much money as they would have had to influence the outcome of elections. It's not like money will change hands, definitely. But the volume will not be the same. And it might just contribute to free and fair election, not necessarily credible election.
Yes, you are a chieftain of the APC, and maybe you are talking from this perspective. I may be wrong, but is it worth the sufferings of Nigeria?
Not at all, and I've said so. I was very clear. The Nigerians are passing through a lot of hardship. I was very clear on that.
All right. Now, maybe I will move to the other tidbit before we go to our subject of the discussion today. Edwin Clark, an elder statesman from South, where you come from. And of course, you are not a member of PDP. But what is your take on asking Okowa to actually, resign from being the running mate of Atiku Abubakar at this time?
The first point is that our revered leader, Chief Edwin Clark, is entitled to his opinion like any other Nigerian. In democracy, every voice has the same weight, every vote has the same weight. It's unfortunate. That's the kind of democracy we'll practice. So, at least he didn't say he was speaking for the people of Southside, he was speaking for himself. And he's entitled to his opinion. If you don't agree with him, you can as well address your own press conference. And the whole concept of democracy is the struggle to get the people to buy your own ideas. That's what this whole democracy is all about. It's a contest of ideas. And so you can't fault him that he's now putting his ideas in the marketplace. You can as well put your own in the marketplace. And I'm sure you're entitled to your own opinion, like any other person is entitled
to. But the opinion of elders actually sway the opinion of the majority. The opinion of one elder can sway the opinion of at least 1 million people.
Yeah, but you
on
need
the
to,
pedigree of that elder.
again, if you're going to evaluate his opinion,
Yeah.
you must evaluate it in context. What makes the difference between right and wrong very often is about context and your mindset, two things.
Yeah.
You know, you can say something in the context of A and it's right. You say it in the context of B, it is not right. You say it with a particular mindset, it's right. And you say it with another mindset, it's wrong.
Yeah.
Now, if you read through his speech,
Yes.
obviously, he's concerned without evidence that Governor Okowa is using the resources of Delta State
Yes,
to
to-
campaign for the PDP.
Yes.
He didn't back it with any evidence.
But he gave timeline that by the end of the month he will actually head to.
He said by May, he will proceed. He will file court processes. He's also free. It is right. The judiciary is there to adjudicate. They will ultimately decide whether it's right or wrong. Approaching the judiciary, there's nothing wrong with it. He needs to come with evidence showing that this man is using the resources of Delta. I think that's his concern.
Yeah.
As for whether it's the man's right to put himself forward for election, definitely this is right. Nobody can take away his right from him.
Yeah, simply because.
You can't deny him his right.
Are you on the same page with Clark that power should just shift to the south?
As a member of the APC,
Yes.
it's predictable that I will support power shift to the south. As a Southerner, it's also predictable. As somebody who believes that Nigeria is a diverse country,
Yes.
multi-ethnic country, and that at our stage of development, we're still evolving our stage of democracy and development.
Yeah.
We need to be sensitive to such cultural settings, our cultural settings, and that we must take actions to show that we accommodate all parts of the country until we get to such a time that the only consideration will be merit. We are not there yet. And so I believe that we should be sensitive to power, at least at the transitional phase of our democracy or development. And so there's no doubt at all.
So there will be fairness and inclusiveness. I remember at the twilight of 2022, you did a lengthy write-up on 5 lessons of 2022. What struck me was you said that discontent is actually gathering momentum.
Very true.
While I want you to discuss briefly these 5 lessons, I want you to also, because this is actually connected with what we are talking about, this power shift and all that this content is gathering momentum. From where is it this content?
All right. If we talk about this content in the polity today, it has both economic dimension, social dimension, and political dimension. From the social dimension, you have security challenges literally in all parts of the country. Whether it's in the northeast with Boko Haram, whether in the northwest, whether in the southwest, southeast, south, north central, all parts of the country today is facing one security challenge or the other. And the security challenge has now impacted on the economic sector. People are not able to go to farm, and ultimately it's affecting food availability, food security. Now it's been predicted that Nigeria, if things continue the way it is going, Nigeria is one of the countries that will face starvation and hunger in the near future. And so that's the social dimension. Now, again, connected to the issue of insecurity is the fact that the economy is literally being brought to a halt. You may have noticed that the volume of crude oil produced and exported out of this country at some point dropped below 1 million barrels
per day.
That was a real threat to our foreign exchange earnings. You may have appreciated right now to about 1.2, 1.3, but that's still far from 2 million barrels that we used to produce. All is connected to insecurity, theft, vandalization of pipelines.
But who should we blame for this?
Again, no, let's talk about the economic challenge.
All right.
So we've talked about the fact that it has impacted on agriculture, it has impacted on oil, it has even impacted on solid minerals. Then even services, transportation. People won't feel free today to not many persons will feel free traveling from Lagos to Port Harcourt by road.
Yeah.
Or train flying from Abuja to Kaduna. Can you see how all of these things are interrelated?
Yeah.
And they all dovetail to something. You know, the fact that Nigerians are facing security challenge on one hand, economic challenge on the other hand. Then on the political space, it's being constricted. You can see what's going on in Rivers State.
Yes.
Where the governor has taken it upon himself to ensure that even the opposition cannot campaign, constricting the political space because he's afraid of competition. And this kind of situation is playing out in many other places where you have government-sponsored violence, as we have in Rivers State today. Government is the one that is sponsoring violence in literally all the local governments of the state, in communities.
Even though I have bunch of questions on Rivers, which will actually come to that. Yeah, but now you also said that politics of money has come to stay. Gale of defections was cemented and instigated with money. In that, is it
very correct?
End of the year prophecy or
very correct. Now, this is also acknowledged by many Nigerians, whether the political class, non-members of the political class, and I think not many people can deny it that even the currency redesign was done in the context of trying to manage the influence of money on our politics and political outcomes.
But some people are actually saying it is the contrary, because
it's not.
What has been released so far, has been mopped up by this set of politicians from the banks.
Well, I don't think that's a true picture. Now, even what has been released so far,
which is not actually in the open.
Absolutely. No,
but
again,
why is the CBN not even being transparent? Because Nigerians are angry.
CBN needs to
tell us how much you have.
When you're managing crisis,
yes.
When you're managing crisis, one of the earliest things to achieve is to ensure that you have calm, both internally and externally. Now, this is a crisis situation that we're in. Now, the other thing is that for you leading in crisis, you try to make meaning out of what is going on.
Yeah.
Identify the issues and identify what issues are. Then the other thing is that you must be in constant communication. That is lacking right now with the CBN, the way they are managing this crisis.
Meaning there must be free
flow of communication so that Nigerians know what's going on, what to expect, and it will affect our response.
But sir, you can see that even those working in the banks, they are all part of Nigeria. But you can see just yesterday, the workers, managers downwards, they even issued a statement tackling the CBN to tell them how much it actually pumped into the economy through the system they have deployed. There is no answer. Only what we had today, that they should start giving people 20,000 naira on the counter. And we deployed our reporters across the country, honestly.
And it's not happening.
It's not happening.
It's not happening.
So where is the problem? Where is the missing link? Is the CBN actually now look at it. We have look at how people are actually struggling. Meaning you have to even pay your way.
Oh yes, to get money.
To get your money.
Physical cash, yes.
So is there fairness in...
You can see?
Oh my God. Now, do we really deserve this in Nigeria?
We don't. We don't. It's unfortunate.
So it's beyond actually fine-tuning the economy. I think it's maybe to achieve a sinister motive, because Tinubu is already alleging that...
If you talk about sinister motive, I don't agree at all. I'm one of those who differ on that. And
you're not on the same page with Tinubu on this?
No. It's not about being on the same page with Tinubu. I don't agree that this thing is targeted at individual politicians. No, I don't agree.
All right. The appeal court restored the ticket of Tonya Cole to stand for the
governorship of Rivers.
In Rivers State. Now, what are you doing now with the restoration of the ticket?
Oh, well, the Tonya Cole team has hit the ground running since. They are campaigning. Momentum is picking up. Rivers people are beginning to accept the reality that they need a governor that is enlightened, exposed, competent, who's got character, integrity, somebody who can make a difference in the system. And they see that in Tonya Cole. So I have no doubt at all where he's headed. and what I think will be the outcome of the elections.
Yeah, but is APC in Rivers on the same page now as we speak?
They are.
Because you know you are a good writer. You write more than you talk.
They are.
And I've been following you. You recently called on all APC members in Rivers State to be on the same page. But sadly, even before now, the likes of Magnus Abe, they left.
Well, my very good friend, Senator Magnus Abe, has since moved on to the Social Democratic Party. He's no longer a member of the APC.
Of course,
he's running on the platform of SDP.
But is that not a threat to you?
No, I don't think so. I'm being honest with you.
What are your facts to say that he's not actually a threat?
It's just one of the many options before Rivers people. There are options before Rivers people, and they will decide who they want as their governor. I don't see how that constitutes a threat.
And even before now, some people thought that you would be the candidate.
But the reality, the manifest reality is I'm not
supposed to be the candidate in 2020.
You're very right, but at least I'm not a candidate. That's
why.
I wouldn't know. There are many factors. Politics is not a straight line.
You have to open up because people have been asking, and that is
there are many considerations actually.
Okay, give me like 2 or 3.
I wouldn't know. The party chose a candidate, and I respect that decision. I'm not a bad loser like some persons,
Yeah.
If things don't go my way, I'm usually calm, study the situation, and decide for myself what is the best response and what is my best foot forward in this circumstance.
Yeah. Did you contemplate vying for the ticket?
I did, of course.
Then at what level did you back out?
Well, a lot of consultations. We did a lot of consultations.
Yeah.
And I have a small political team.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, they felt that we should withdraw from the race, and we did.
Wow.
I listened to my team.
You listen to a team, but people say that above listening to the team, you always listen to Amaechi, His Excellency.
Well, it's neither here nor there. I don't take everything he says 100% because we are all different. Our background is different. Our experiences are different. Our aspirations in life are different. Do I listen to advice? By my nature, I do. And I evaluate every advice. And I make decisions based on 2 or 3 things.
Okay.
1,
okay,
what I think is my conscience is telling me. What I think is best for society. And what I believe will serve the generality of my immediate political constituency.
I heard that many of your followers are not actually comfortable with the decision you took not to vie for that office because they believe in your pedigree, they believe you have the support base, and they believe you also have the resources to actually prosecute your project so that you will be an independent-minded person.
Oh, well, I've always been independent-minded. If you follow my writings, I'm not sure there's any dispute about being independent-minded. I don't think people can deny me of anything, not courage.
Yeah.
Not the fact that I'm independent-minded. Nobody can deny that.
So what are you telling your followers now?
Well, at the time we made the decision, there were a lot of rumblings in Rivers State.
Aha.
We engaged. We started talking with our supporters because every politician derives strength from your support base.
Yes.
We explained the position to them. There was mixed feeling. Some persons were happy, some persons were not happy. Some understood it, some did not understand it. But over time, we started engaging. And I think that most of our supporters, I wouldn't say all,
yeah,
are on the same page. That there's a time to fight, there's a time to hold on.
You're a good preacher, and that's why
I don't know about good preacher.
Well, in terms of maybe political preaching or this, moral preaching also, because from your writings it is obvious. But I also gathered that, because I follow Rivers politics very well, that this disaffection was actually what chased or motivated Magnus Abe and people like others to actually move out, because there was no level field during the primaries. His Excellency Amaechi said at the tail end, after giving all of you the assurance that there will be fair contest, at the tail end, few days to the primaries, he now said, okay, people should go for Tonyo.
I don't think that's exactly what happened.
Okay, what really happened?
Okay, you're trying to push me. I thought we would discuss more serious issues.
No, but this is a very serious issue.
There's nothing we can do.
People have been calling us.
There's nothing we can do about
what happened.
what happened.
Actually listen to us and they watch us, they ask us to really invite you and ask you these questions.
What happened is two-dimensional.
Okay.
On the primaries,
yes,
they write the Honorable Chibuike Rotimi Amaechi.
Yes.
Ask all those who are interested to go purchase the form,
yeah,
put yourself forward, and ensure that the party conducts free and fair primaries. Nobody can deny that.
Okay.
If you say that he called his immediate political family and asked them to choose one person, whether it's transparent, whether it's the most democratic thing to do, it's a different thing.
Yeah.
And that is immediate political family. There is a constituency in the APC, chose one person, Tonye Cole, to run. That did not stop any other person from indicating interest. I have a very good friend, Ojuka Eflaga Makri, who did not agree with that decision.
Yeah.
Who still went on to put himself forward and contested the primaries. And I think came second in the primaries. There was a Sekonte Davis who also contested, and a few other persons contested in that primaries. So you cannot in equity say that Chibuike Rotimi Amaechi shut out everybody from running the primaries. No, I don't think that's the true picture.
Wow.
There are a lot of behind-the-scene incidents.
Compromises,
which
concessions,
is a different kettle of fish altogether.
and all that. And why I'm actually interested in this, they say that Tony Okocha, he's still in APC, right? But one leg in SDP because he's actually a loyalist of
Magnus Abe.
So how are you going to manage people like Okocha to actually sell to victory in Rivers? Because they say they are still there, but they are not campaigning. They are just low.
Yeah, well, these things happen in politics. Politics is a game for the discerning.
Yeah.
And you must manage divergent interests and bring them to some point of convergence.
Okay.
And I think that if you're not skilled in managing divergent interests and try to bring some harmony and some convergence, then you ought not to be in politics.
Yeah.
So I think it's work in progress, if you ask me.
And SDP will not be a threat to you because the two of you, SDP, APC, will now have to contend with Wike, which, of course, we are going to discuss him more elaborately, maybe in the next session of the program.
Well, I've said I don't see how SDP will be a threat. If you say he's an opponent to APC, that's correct.
Okay.
But not a threat.
Great. We'll go on a break, and when we go, we'll go to the national politics. Viewers, we will take a break now, and when we return, the program continues. Don't go away.
This is Trust TV, documenting the Nigerian story.
Nigerians, elections are here again. Let us shun violence. Let us play the game according to the rules. Do not be a thug. Say no to violence. Let's rise and defeat violence, crime, and sabotage against the peace of our nation. Nigeria is the only country we have. We must do everything to keep it united. We must avoid any act that promotes hate and disintegration. Say no to separatist movement, terrorism, fake news, hate speech, religious bigotry, and any act that tends to divide us as a nation. Watch out for strange gatherings and suspicious movements. Restrict access to sensitive documents and data, the disclosure of which may damage national security. Educate your staff and family, particularly on measures to safeguard information and report security breaches. Apply relevant legal security guidelines to protect yourself and your neighbors. Due to misinformation and wrong choices, some idle persons resort to vices in their greed to get rich quick. they resort to kidnapping, killings for rituals, and other heinous crimes. Avoid wrong use of the social media. Before you broadcast that false message, think twice. Ask whether it will promote peace or violence. For safety at home, still be security conscious. Educate your household on safety tips. Report all suspicious movements and persons to the security agencies nearest to you. Be a good citizen. Be patriotic. To pass security information, please call 0813-222-2105, 0915-339-1309, 0908-837-3514, or send a mail to dsspr@dss.gov.ng. This message is from the Department of State Services, DSS.
Haruna, Bisi, Akman, Unduka, how will I want to do on election day?
On election day, I go take my PVC. When I reach where I dey vote to, na broom I go put my hand for Tinubu. On election day, I go take my PVC. When I reach where I dey vote to, na broom I go put my hand for Tinubu.
People of Nigeria, make we all come out on election day and vote Asiwaju Bola Tinubu as president. Make Nigeria for better. Make you put your hand for APC, the party where show broom. Not forget now broom you go put your hand in. Bam!
On election day, I go take my PVC. When I reach where I dey vote to, na broom I go put my hand for Tinubu.
Welcome back. If you are just joining us, this is Daily Politics on Trust TV. Do well to follow the conversation across our platforms on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. We still have in the studio Mr. Dakuku Peter Said. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Yes, before we went over, you actually wanted us to go national instead of the local politics. So I'm going national now. We're not hearing about Tinubu in Rivers, in fairness to people in Rivers and Nigerians, because the expectation is that you, and by extension, His Excellency Rotimi Amechi, should lead the campaign of Tinubu in Rivers State. But it's like nothing is happening. Why?
That's not correct at all.
Okay.
To say that.
But I need some proof then to actually
say that you're not hearing
what
about Tinubu in Rivers.
Okay.
It's not correct at all. There are different modes and models of campaign.
Okay.
The fact that we cannot afford to litter billboards all over the place does not mean that there is no effective campaign for the APC presidential candidate in Rivers State. By the way, I have a super solid relationship with the vice presidential candidate, Senator Kashim Shettima.
Okay.
You know, I have literally what I can call a family relationship. So
Okay.
I'm morally obligated.
What about with Tinubu?
Oh yes, wonderful relationship.
Which is stronger?
Oh.
With Shettima or with Tinubu?
Kashim Shettima is literally not just a friend, literally a family friend of over 20 years.
Okay.
But that's nothing, it's not an issue. So the political space in Rivers State, as you know, is toxic.
Yeah.
The governor of the state believes in violence as a strategy of political conquest, doesn't believe in dialogue, doesn't believe that the opposition should campaign. He's literally taking the state to prehistoric times, believes that might is power. We all know him.
Yeah.
You hear him talk, you think that they've suspended reason. Nobody has suspended reason. I think that is his nature, habit formed over time. And
is that what is actually restraining you or being a constraint to you?
no, if you face that kind of toxic environment, you must devise better means of reaching the hearts and minds of the people.
So are you doing that?
We're doing that effectively.
Give me one or two ways you are doing.
First, there's a door-to-door campaign going on in Rivers, and it's pretty effective. Of course, the campaign rallies are going on at the various local government levels. Now, there's what is called the Jagaba Army, Jagaba Air Force, Jagaba Navy, all sorts, you know. But the most important thing is the fact that it's been most effective and efficient, and the outcome, the results will show.
Okay, you don't have posters, you know.
There are a lot of posters.
You are not doing
there are a lot of posters.
Jingles on television and
there are jingles. In fact, there is a jingle on radio sponsored by me. I'm not just talking about the APC alone.
And while you are actually
5 radio stations,
and while you are busy actually accusing Wike of stifling the space for the opposition, but he is doing campaign commissioning projects in areas where you people were supposed to have worked that you didn't work, according to him. I don't know whether he's actually turning the facts, but you can see wherever he go for campaign, he will either inaugurate a project or he will commission a new project. So how are you going to face him?
All right, thank you very much. I think that there's misrepresentation and misinformation about the Wike
persona
in Rivers and outside. I think he's invested heavily in media, and you can't hold it against him. If you ask the average Rivers man, what project has Wike done? They will tell you he's done flyover and pushed Rivers to poverty.
How?
What has he done in the area of education? Nothing. What has he done in healthcare? Nothing.
What about the schools we saw him commissioning?
What school?
The photos are there.
The renovated schools, in few renovated schools. Is that the challenge of education in 21st century Rivers State? Certainly not. Wike has done literally nothing. Literally nothing. I mean nothing. And has time to be challenged.
We'll bring him here.
Is it in agriculture? What has he done in agriculture? Is it in power? What has he done in power? What of in industry? Employment creation? You see, there are indices for measuring the performance of a government. And so if all he can boast of is that he's done a few roads in the city of Port Harcourt.
But he also commissioned the Eke campus, you know, of the Rivers State University.
The what?
Eke campus, yeah.
I don't know what campus he commissioned. Rotimi Amechi's administration built a model secondary school. And he simply renovated that model and completed the model school that's already been completed, awaiting commissioning. Painted it and called it a campus of a university.
So you think it's a primary school or something?
No, a model secondary school built by the previous administration. So what has he done? I'd like to know.
And you're saying he didn't do something?
I mean, nothing, absolutely nothing.
What about health? Because we saw him commissioning the renal center.
Okay.
Is it that the equipment are not there?
Good.
Or?
The renal center is a sub-unit in a whole hospital.
Yeah. So you're talking about nothing for children.
Does that cure?
For cancer?
For the fact that he had abandoned primary healthcare system. Now, that is a tertiary function care system. Does it cure the fact that he abandoned the secondary healthcare system, which should be general hospitals, in 23 local governments of Rivers State? I come from Rivers State. Tell me of the 23 local governments where you have functional secondary healthcare system. I like to know.
Oh. But is it that he's doing Afghanistanism, let me use this in journalism, that he built a campus of sort for Nigeria Law School in Port Harcourt?
You said it. That's doing
Afghanistanism. Because
that's primary responsibility of the federal government. Is that correct?
Which was actually commissioned by President Buhari.
No, through the Attorney General.
Yeah.
Now, that's the primary responsibility of the federal government. Is that correct?
Yeah, it is.
Now, he's attending to that when his own primary responsibility, he has abandoned and abdicated. Does it make sense?
So what are you telling the people of Rivers now? During your day-to-day, door-to-door campaign?
The people of Rivers know who their leaders are. They know those who have deceived them over the years. those that will not have anything to do with. And this election is an opportunity for them to end that era of deceit
And are you think
and dictatorship.
are you mulling, a situation where you go into an alliance with the SDP and other parties in order to checkmate what you call the excesses of Wike?
Well, I don't think strategy is what you discuss in the marketplace.
Yeah.
You take your strategy to the marketplace.
But when you say it here, people who don't actually see you face to face, because they believe many of you live in Abuja, maybe you
I don't live in Abuja.
To them.
I live in Lagos.
Yeah.
I'm in Port Harcourt every weekend, literally every weekend.
You go home.
Every weekend, unless I'm outside the country.
And you meet with rebel people
Definitely.
to discuss.
I'm a man on the street.
Meaning that there is a sort of freedom if you move on the street to do your campaign. There is a sort of freedom, contrary to what you earlier said on Wike.
You see, movement on the street
Yeah.
for somebody of my stature
Yeah.
cannot be a way of defining
Okay.
freedom of association, freedom to embark on your political activities. Certainly, I'm not the right yardstick for measurement.
Yeah. Yeah. So what are the chances of the APC in the South?
I believe it's bright.
How?
I won't go more than that. You want me to discuss our strategy?
Not
Yeah.
really, because
We're in a competitive
it's an
election.
arena of actually
We're in
describing
a
or sharing the
competitive,
strategy.
we're in
Yeah.
a competitive election. Now, if you go to Bayelsa,
Yes.
go to Delta, there's realignment of forces. And APC is the beneficiary. If you go to Rivers,
Yeah.
there's so much disenchantment with the government of the day there.
What about in Delta?
In Delta, that's what I'm saying, there's total realignment of forces.
But you have the vice presidential candidate coming from there.
Well,
How will you
I like you
actually
to look deep,
Okay.
analyze the situation, and interpret it in the light of your analysis, information at your disposal.
As a student of politics and also a reporter, I know that being a front runner gives somebody advantage. And Okoa, being a front runner, a vice presidential candidate, is actually an edge for the South. And maybe people
Now
there
things
will say they start
things
to
are
gain
beginning
more.
to change, and
People
the
are
earlier you
going to
notice
be,
that,
they will
the
be
better.
more amenable to maybe PDP than to APC, because one of their sons is actually there. He's going to be the second, the number 2 citizen in the event the PDP makes it to the villa.
I like to be objective in my analysis.
All right.
You see, Nigerians have since moved on. And the key factor that will determine how they vote today is not necessarily ethnicity.
Or you believe in
There are
this?
many factors. No, in some regions, it might be ethnicity. In some areas, among the elite, it may be competence. Among the urban and rural dwellers, there will be differences. There are different factors that influence how people vote. You know, the way young people in the urban area will make a decision, it's not the same way young people in rural areas will make decisions. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Now, the way religious fanatics will make decision is not the same way those who are liberal in religion, on their religious leanings will make a decision. Is that also correct?
Yeah.
So these factors vary. As you go from one environment, one constituency to the other, different factors are at play.
Yeah.
It could even be the fact that there are internal rivalry. And so it's not very easy for us to say that by reason of perception,
Yeah.
without putting a meaning or interpreting, making sense out of that perception, then we'll run to a conclusion and say this is what we perceive. And so if I stay in my little Opobo and I say, no, this is the way they will vote in Delta in another state, I don't live in that environment. I don't know the factors in that environment. I don't know what will influence their behavior and the decisions.
The
they will make.
dynamics, if I get you right, the dynamics are many.
Exactly.
But what about the Peter Obi factor in the South and South?
All I can say,
Yeah.
I acknowledge the fact that the Peter Obi personnel and factor, what you call factor, is strong in the South. I can't deny that.
Yeah.
But is it strong enough to give the Labour Party victory in the 6 states of the South? I don't think so.
Okay, you think he has a lot of grounds to cover.
A lot of work to do.
And it's like the APC is actually struggling to convince Nigerians that it has done something and deserves another chance. You are from the South, you are a turnaround expert. The APC could not get it right in turning around the petroleum sector as we speak now. So what are you telling the Nigerians?
Yes, they may not have turned around the petroleum sector, but they've made consequential decisions.
Like what?
One is the PIB. Now recall that I used to be a member
But a
of
lot
the
of
National Assembly.
contradictions in the PIB as we speak.
No, forget about contradiction. The fact that the PIB has been on the drawing board for 20 years. It was only under the watch of the current government that it became law.
Or was that not a political decision to actually pass it without actually looking at specifics? Because you can see when you say you
Is
remove...
it the president that made the PIB? The PIB was passed by the National Assembly, both chambers,
but I think he
with
has,
representatives of all our people.
He also takes back budget when it is not done properly and taken to him. He has that right to also take the PIB 10 times to get it right, because you can see subsidy is still there.
Lawmaking, no, but probably not in the PIB. Lawmaking is dynamic. It's organic. Now, when you make a law, you put it to test, and you keep refining it, amending it, updating the laws. Laws are not cast in stone. You must keep updating it. So maybe we've made the first version of PIB. We'll put it at work and see how it delivers results.
We expected,
the next government.
We expected brand new refineries because the APC campaign to do that. But we are just talking about turnaround. I'm asking this because this is your specialized
No, well, I'm
area.
a management turnaround expert in the public sector. Now, the issue of new refineries is not very fashionable. It's no longer fashionable for government to be the ones building and managing refineries. And so I believe that Nigeria is in transition. Now, we've started with Dangote Refinery, which is private sector led. Now, there are a lot of modular refineries around the country. I'm sure you've heard so many.
Yeah.
Now, modular refineries, those are all private sector led. I believe that that's the way to go. That's the direction the world is going right now. There's efficiency and effectiveness that comes with private sector led investment.
We just had another story that the federal government is going into another agreement for the turnaround of Kaduna Refinery.
I've heard of it.
This place has, okay, you have heard of it. Are you satisfied that something
I
will
don't
come
believe
out
it's the
of
best decision to make.
Aha.
But I don't have all the facts.
But why is the APC taking maybe anti-people decisions? You belong to that party.
Are you saying that the turnaround of Kaduna Refinery is an anti-people decision?
Exactly, because they have done this more than 5 times.
If they do the turnaround maintenance of Kaduna Refinery and it starts functioning effectively and delivering products efficiently, will you say it's anti-people?
But
it will contribute.
They have done it not
it
once,
will contribute
not twice,
to the
not 3
volume
times. Yeah.
of petroleum products in the country, and what it does is that it will help crash the price.
But I don't think it will do that because they have spent billions
don't think
to
so
do that.
because
Yes,
you don't have the facts.
I have. As a student of, following public policy, I know that they have invested a lot, just the way they have been investing on Port Harcourt refineries.
What I can say to you, the fact that you've done something once and it didn't work doesn't mean that it will not work again. You may have learned lessons from that experience, and you build on those lessons and get it right.
Now we have run short of time, but I want you to say something on the remediation in the South.
What
How
remediation?
Far? The oil spillage and all
There's
that.
Ogoni cleanup.
Is it really going on? Because
from what I've read in the papers and my engagement with some of those who are involved, I am told, and I have no reason to doubt them, that the Ogoni cleanup is going on. Is the pace fast enough? No. Is the pace fast? Am I satisfied with the pace, rather?
Yeah.
I'm not satisfied with the pace. But is it going on? It's going on.
And do you think this finally, people in the South will actually trust the APC after all these years? And it's not that we are saying, okay, we want to do this, we will do this, we'll make sure we do this and all that. Promises and promises, instead of saying, okay, we have done A, B, C, D for you to trust us again.
Now, if they don't trust the APC, which party would they trust?
Maybe Labour Party, PDP, SDP.
Now,
We have 18 options.
PDP was in power for 16 years. And even the 13% derivation due the states they did not pay, the APC government has paid. How do you explain that?
So you think you have brighter chances?
All of us are in a context.
Should this be the only reason for comparison, sir?
It's not.
Okay.
I can give you 20 different reasons why people will make decisions not along the line of what you're saying.
And I wish we had the time to give me these 20 reasons. So I want to thank you for coming to the program. Mr. Dakuku Peter Said, columnist, author, public commentator, turnaround expert, former DG Nimasa, former gubernatorial candidate of APC in Rivers State. We enjoy the conversation with you and I hope you will come again.
Thank you very much. Always available.
And that's a wrap on today's program. Viewers, do well to collect your permanent voter's card and make a commitment to vote in the forthcoming election to guarantee a better future for all of us. Thanks for watching and do join us again. I'm Hamza Idris.